Hello everyone, welcome to my first ever video on databases. Today we are going to define basic terms such as data, information, database, and database management systems. We are also going to discuss traditional file processing systems and why database management systems is better than the former one. What is data? Data is a representation of objects and/or events that can be recorded such as names, dates, pictures, videos, and etc. Most of the time, people use data and information interchangeably in everyday life. However, there is a difference between the two terms. Information are data that have been processed to make it more meaningful for decision making, whereas data are just raw facts. We have here an example of data. As you can see, it doesn't really tell us much. In the first column, you would see a list of words, while on the second column you would see a list of numbers. You can probably guess that the first column comprises of a list of beverage names, but we can't really tell what those numbers are. So how do we convert this into information? What we could do is to put additional data. And now we know that the data we saw earlier is actually a list of beverage names and their corresponding prices. Another way to convert it into information is to summarize the data and then present them visually through graphs or charts. What is a database? A database is a collection of interrelated data, usually presented in tables, and is used for storing, managing, and retrieving information. Next, we're going to discuss traditional file processing systems and database management systems. Traditional file processing systems is a collection of programs that is used to store, manipulate, and retrieve large files of data. Each program defines and manages its own data, and this causes some shortcomings to the traditional file processing systems, such as duplication of data that happens more often than not. And because there is duplication of data, there's also wastage of space and resources. Because you have to allocate memory for the different data into separate files, as well as hire more people to manage this file. Another problem with the traditional file processing system is that the file structure is defined in the program. And because of that, when we try to make changes in the system or the file, we have to start from scratch and design a new file. And because programs are usually developed using different programming languages, it causes incompatible file formats. And that would be one reason why data sharing is limited when it comes to traditional file processing systems. And because of all of these problems mentioned above, there is a high maintenance cost for using traditional file processing systems. In order to correct those faults, they developed the database management system, and it is a software system that is used to create, maintain, and provide controlled access to user databases. In database management system, data descriptions or metadata are separated from the application programs. and that results to reduce data redundancy, improve data consistency, improve data sharing, and reduce maintenance costs. So that is the reason why database management systems is better than the traditional file processing system.